in the world. The dwarf, during his training, hit his student on the hands and said that he ordered him not to squeeze so hard. The protagonist thought with a soft smile about Corgidus enjoying his power over the dragon to the fullest, and he himself had encountered countless cases. The hero remembered his past life and the dialogue with the boss and thought about when he was offered incredibly unfair contracts, and then assured that I have no choice but to sign them. Then he imagined how the bald old man stretched out his hands to him and thought that perhaps they thought then that this scum should have no choice. The dwarf stood on the box next to the sitting dragon and hit it with a stick, asking if it was intentionally trying to ruin everything, and telling it to think before doing something, and Lloyd at that moment thought that such behavior has nothing to do with a contract, because a contract is when all parties benefit. The hero watched as the precious stones flew to the floor and listened to the screams that it should be thrown away. He immediately picked them up from the ground and thought that it would be better if he got the most out of it. But suddenly a notification appeared that he had changed another fate. The protagonist looked at him in surprise while rolling a cart with stones and was surprised. As it turned out in the novel, the dragon was mortally wounded and cut off by Xavier and he crawled to his lair. Selita was breathing heavily lying on the ground, and the system continued the story. The lizard was lying under the sun's rays, and the notification said that he died there and was dying alone in his lair that no one would ever find. Lloyd scratched his cheek and said with a displeased face that the novel only said how he returned to his lair. But the system said that if it were not for him, the Frontier couple would also disappear from this world. Afterwards, we see the Count, who is a well-rounded person who is now free from the burden of debt and is putting all his efforts into what he couldn't do before. He had a figurine of his son in his hands, and a notification said that he was now happy, and all thanks to the protagonist. Afterwards, we see Julian, who receives a certificate from the teacher, and the system wrote that the guy who was destined to die in a foreign land finally receives recognition for his efforts in his studies, and all thanks to him, and it is impossible to count how many lives he has already saved. The hero scratched his nose, and then he asked for money with a satisfied look,